Debugging and troubleshooting common issues in web development. Introduction. Debugging and troubleshooting are essential skills for web developers, allowing them to identify and resolve issues efficiently during the development process. Whether it's a JavaScript error, CSS layout problem, or server-side issue, knowing how to debug effectively can save time and frustration. In this article, we'll explore techniques and strategies for debugging and troubleshooting common issues in web development. Understand the problem. Before attempting to debug, take the time to understand the nature of the problem thoroughly. Reproduce the issue if possible and gather relevant information, such as error messages, console logs, and steps to reproduce. Understanding the symptoms and context of the problem will help you narrow down potential causes and solutions. Use browser developer tools. Browser developer tools, such as Chrome DevTools, Firefox Developer Tools, or Safari Web Inspector, are invaluable for debugging web applications. Use the Console tab to view JavaScript errors, log messages, and network requests. Inspect elements to analyze HTML structure, CSS styles, and layout properties. Experiment with the debugger to set breakpoints, step through code execution, and inspect variables. Check the console for errors. JavaScript errors are a common source of issues in web development. Use the browser console to check for error messages, warnings, and exceptions thrown by your code. Pay attention to error details, stack traces, and line numbers to pinpoint the location and cause of the error. Use console.log statements for logging values and debugging code behavior. Validate HTML and CSS. HTML and CSS errors can lead to rendering issues, layout problems, and unexpected behavior in web browsers. Use HTML validators like the W3C markup validation service to check for syntax errors and compliance with HTML standards. Similarly, use CSS validators to identify syntax errors, typos, and unsupported properties in your style sheets. Fixing HTML and CSS errors can often resolve visual and layout issues. Test cross-browser compatibility. Cross-browser compatibility issues can arise due to differences in rendering engines, CSS support, and JavaScript implementations across different web browsers. Test your website on multiple browsers and devices to identify compatibility issues and inconsistencies. Use browser compatibility testing tools or online services to automate testing across various browser versions and platforms. Review network requests. Network-related issues, such as slow loading times, failed requests, or incorrect responses, can impact the performance and functionality of web applications. Use the Network tab in Browser Developer Tools to monitor network requests, including HTTP status codes, response headers, and payload sizes. Analyze request timings, latency, and waterfall charts to identify bottlenecks and optimize performance. Debug server-side code. If your web application relies on server-side code, such as PHP, Node, JS, or Python, debug server-side issues using appropriate tools and techniques. Use server logs, error messages, and debugging tools provided by your server environment or programming language. Check server configurations, database connections, and file permissions to ensure smooth operation. Test and isolation. To isolate and diagnose specific issues, create minimal test cases or reproducible examples that focus on the problem area. Remove unnecessary code, libraries, and dependencies to simplify the debugging process. By isolating the issue, you can narrow down potential causes and test hypotheses more effectively. Seek help and collaboration. Don't hesitate to seek help from peers, online communities, or forums when troubleshooting challenging issues. Describe the problem clearly, provide relevant details and context, and share code snippets or examples if possible. Collaborating with others can provide fresh perspectives, alternative solutions, and valuable insights into resolving the issue. Document solutions and learn from experience. Once you've identified and resolved an issue, document the solution, including the steps taken, findings, and lessons learned. Maintain a knowledge base, code repository, or documentation system to capture common issues, troubleshooting techniques, and best practices. Learning from past experiences will help you become a more proficient and effective web developer over time. Conclusion. Debugging and troubleshooting are integral parts of the web development process, requiring patience, persistence, and problem-solving skills. By understanding the problem, using browser developer tools, checking the console for errors, validating HTML and CSS, testing cross-browser compatibility, reviewing network requests, debugging server-side code, testing in isolation, seeking help, and documenting solutions, developers can effectively identify and resolve common issues in web development. With practice and experience, you can become a proficient debugger and troubleshooter, capable of tackling challenges and delivering high-quality web applications.